Hey guys, this is Blue Eyes Master 91. I know I haven't made any videos in a while, but I figured I would start back up, and what better way to start back up than with a Blue Eyes deck profile. So here we go. So, first thing in the deck, three Blue Eyes, staples for the deck, no real explanation needed. Then we have three copies of Alternative, who can only be special summoned initially by revealing a Blue Eyes in your hand. Its name becomes Blue Eyes while on the field and in the grave, and once a turn it can pop a monster on the field, so it's extremely, extremely useful. Next we have a single copy of our Abyss Dragon. Abyss Dragon is another really, really great addition to the deck. Abyss Dragon, upon special summoning, allows you to add a ritual spell card or polymerization from your deck to your hand, and then during each of your end phases, you're allowed to search out a level 8 dragon to add to your hand. He also has an effect that when you banish him, he gives an additional attack strength boost of 1,000 to every dragon on the field, level 8 or higher. So he helps you get your boss monsters even bigger. Of course, all these effects can only be used when you have a Blue Eyes either on the field or in the grave, which with this deck is pretty simple to do. We have our single copy of Dragon Spirit of White. Dragon Spirit of White is treated as a Blue Eyes monster, and then also a normal monster while in the graveyard, or in your hand. So that's kind of nice. His effect upon being special summoned is you get to banish a single card in your opponent's back row, and then when your opponent has monsters on their field, you can send him to the graveyard to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, or any Blue Eyes monster. Blue Eyes White Dragon varies very specifically. So that's kind of nice to have. Then we get into our tuners. We have three copies of White Stone of Ancient. White Stone of Ancient allows you to get into a lot of your plays. You'd like to see him in your starting hand. His first effect is when he is sent from the field to the graveyard, or to the graveyard in general, you're able to special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your deck. So what I tend to do is Stone, Link summon him to go into Abyss Dragon as long as they have a Blue Eyes on the field. But that's not always the case, so sometimes you do go into a Blue Eyes to go into Abyss Dragon at a different time. His other effect is you can banish him to add a Blue Eyes card from your graveyard to your hand. So that's a really, really nice effect as well. Next we have Maiden. Maiden has two very nice abilities. Upon her being targeted for an attack, you can switch her to defense, special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and end that battle. Doesn't end the battle phase, it ends the battle. Her second effect is when she's targeted by a card effect, you get to special summon a Blue Eyes from your hand, deck, or graveyard. I do not believe that negates the effect, though. So I tend to go with the first effect. I think it's more useful. Next, we have two copies of Protector. I really like Protector. His effects are really, really nice. Upon his normal summon, you can special summon an additional level 1 light tuner monster from your hand. And then you can target an effect monster on the field, including himself. Sending it to the graveyard, you could special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your hand. So he's really, really good at special summoning out monsters from your hand. And it just helps to build the foundation for the deck and strategies you may have. Next we have a single copy of Sage. Sage has two really, really nice effects as well. Sage allows you, upon its normal summon, to add a level 1 light tuner from your deck to your hand. Or you can discard it, targeting an effect monster on your field, sending that monster to the graveyard to special summon a Blue Eyes from your deck. And it is just a Blue Eyes monster. Rounding out the level 1 light tuners is our copy of Master. Master with Eyes of Blue is a pretty cool monster as well. Upon his normal summon, you can add a level 1 light tuner monster from your graveyard to your hand. And then when he is in the graveyard, you can shuffle him back into the deck, target an effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and then special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your graveyard, other than the monster that you sent. So if you target a, let's say, Twin Burst, because it doesn't have its effects or anything, and it's just a potato, you cannot resummon that monster brand new, but you can go into a different Blue Eyes monster. Next, we have 2 copies of Ash. Ash is just a really, really generic hand trap you see. I just put her in recently because I'm planning on going to a couple tournaments here shortly, hopefully. So it's just nice to have the ability to stop your opponent from searching. Next, we have a single copy of Crystal Dragon. Crystal Dragon is a one-of because of its ability. When you declare an attack during the battle phase, you can add a level 8 dragon to your hand. That is extremely important in this deck because it allows you to add Dragon Spirit, Alternative, a normal Blue Eyes, or even your Abyss Dragon if you want. And rounding out monsters is Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, another newer add-in. He is a level 7 24 attack monster. You can special summon him when your opponent link summons, and then you draw cards equal to the link rating. But then you have to also shuffle the same number of cards back into the deck. So it helps you to do some housekeeping on your hand if you don't have a great one. His other effect is that you can once a turn, quick effect, discard a card to negate the activation of a card or card effect. So that's honestly really, really useful because it helps you to kind of cover some of the weaknesses of this deck build, which there isn't a lot of negation. So that is it on the monster front. Let's dive right into the spell and traps. So for spell cards, we have 2 copies of Melody. Melody is one of the searchers for the deck. You can discard a card in your hand to add a Blue Eyes White Dragon and an alternative to your hand, or anything that has 3,000 attack or more, and 25 defense or less. So very, very specific. So Blue Eyes is more or less one of your few targets. We have a single copy of Dragon's Ravine. This field spell is nice because you can discard a card in your hand to send a monster from your deck to the graveyard as well. So what I'll tend to do is discard a Blue Eyes, send a stone, get out Abyss Dragon. It helps to set up. Then we have our single copy of Bingo Machine Go. Bingo Machine Go allows you to search out either a Blue Eyes monster or spell and trap cards that specifically list Blue Eyes on it. So it helps you to get into your True Lights while also allowing you to set or get into an Ultimate Creature of Destruction, or you can search out just 3 monsters. So 3 Blue Eyes or whatever have you. Then we have 2 copies of Fusion Deployment. I really like this spell because it allows you to reveal a fusion monster in your extra deck, special summon a monster that is listed on it. It locks you into fusions for the turn, but it's not really a giant problem in this deck. So that's extremely useful. I think the only real downside to this spell is that you are locked into fusion monsters. Next, we have 2 copies of Poly and a Dragon's Mirror. Dragon's Mirror allows you to fusion summon using monsters on the field and in your graveyard by banishing, and then Polymerization is hand and field. Not a lot needs to be said about either of those. Next, we have a single copy of Return of the Dragon Lords, which allows you to resummon a level 7 or a dragon, and then you can banish the spell card to protect your monsters from destruction or card effects. We have a single copy of Silver's Cry, which is a quick play spell card. It allows you to special summon a normal monster in your graveyard, so your Blue Eyes or your Dragon Spirit of White. Dragon Revival Rhapsody. This allows you to special summon 2 dragons from your graveyard, as long as you have a spellcaster on the field to activate it. And then the only real issue with the card is that you do have to have one of the monsters you revive be a normal monster. So Blue Eyes an alternative, Blue Eyes in a fusion, what have you on that, as long as you have a normal monster in it. And then the other downside to this card, and it's the real downside, is your opponent takes no battle damage that turn that you use it. Next we have Raigeki, which is a board wipe. We have our banish requirement, and Burial from the Different Dimension allows you to add 3 monsters that are banished back into your graveyard. Dark Ruler No More to negate effects on your opponent's side of the field. Pot of Avarice to restock your deck. Harpy's Feather Duster to destroy back row. And trade in to get draw power. Along with Pot of Avarice's ability to draw 2. So that is it on spells. Let's dive into the few traps we do run. In this deck, we run 2 copies of True Light, which is the brand new Blue Eyes support trap card. Your opponent cannot target Blue Eyes monsters in your monster zones. With card effects, if this face-up card is sent from the field to the graveyard, destroy all monsters you control. And then you can only use one of these 2 effects per turn, which is special summon a Blue Eyes from your hand, a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or graveyard, or to set a spell or trap that specifically lists Blue Eyes in its text. So this is the equivalent of the Dark Magician's Eternal Soul. It's a really, really nice trap. We have a single copy of Ultimate Creature of Destruction, which is our Blue Eyes specific effect protection. And then you can, when you special summon a Blue Eyes, if it's in your graveyard, you can reset it, but then you banish it at the end of the turn. Or at the end when you use it again. It goes to the banish pile. Next we have Evenly Matched, which is another of the hand traps, which just helps you to kind of recollect yourself after if your opponent has a big turn. Ice Dragon's Prison. This is a trap I really wanted to add for a while now. You can target an opponent's monster in the graveyard, special summon it to your field, its effects are negated. Then you can banish 1 monster from both players' fields that have the same type as each other. So, playing against Galaxy Eyes, anything that has the same type. So any other dragon decks or any deck, it can just sprinkle into any deck, honestly. It's really, really useful. We have a copy of Infinite Impermanence for more effect negation, and we have a copy of Mirror Force for another board wipe. So that's it for the main. Let's get into the extra deck. In the extra deck, I have 2 copies of Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. He is completely protected from from card effects. He cannot be targeted or destroyed by with card effects, which is really, really nice. And if you use Alternative as material, he gains the ability to pop 3 cards on your opponent's field, regardless of position. If you use just 3 Blue Eyes, it's 1 pop anywhere on their field, which is really, really nice. We then have 3 copies of Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. I absolutely love this guy. He is great for an OTK setup. If he is the only face-up card in your field, You can send a different Blue Eyes Fusion from your extra deck to the graveyard, and he can attack a second and third time. He only gets up to 3 attacks. His other effect is that during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets a Blue Eyes monster you control, or Blue Eyes monsters, you can banish this card from the graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the card. So it's really good at also protecting other Blue Eyes monsters, as well as just being a tank in and of itself. We then have a single copy of the original Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. With him, I don't generally summon him out anymore. I'll use him for Neo's effect, along with a different copy of Neo generally. But he's useful for that. He is still a 45k attacking monster, so it's not like he's weak by any means. He just has absolutely no effect. We then have 3 copies of the dreaded Blue Eyes Twin Burst. Twin Burst cannot be destroyed by battle, and anything you battle during your turn, when you attack something and it is not destroyed, it gets banished. So that is an extremely useful effect. Next we have our copy of the Synchro Monster, Azorize Silver Dragon. Azorize is awesome. He needs a tuner and a non-tuner normal monster. He is a level 9 Synchro, 2500 attack and 3000 defense. When he's special summoned, dragon-type monsters on your field are protected from destruction for a turn, and then once per turn during your standby phase, you are able to resummon a normal dragon from your graveyard, which is kind of nice to have that more recursion going. We have a single copy of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Spirit Dragon is another level 9 Synchro. He just needs a tuner and a non-tuner Blue Eyes monster. He is another 25 attacking monster. Another player can special summon 2 or more monsters during the same turn. Once per turn during either player's turn, when an effect of a card in the graveyard activates, you can negate the activation. During either player's turn, you can tribute this card to special summon special summon 1 Light Dragon Synchro monster from the extra deck in defense. So generally, you can send him away, go into Azorize, and then you get your special summon and protection. So next is a brand new card that a friend pointed out to add in. Virtual World Kyubi Shenshin. Shenshin is ridiculously good in this deck. When you declare an attack, you can special summon, or when you declare an attack, you're going to turn something that's banished to your graveyard. So he's really, really good on the recursion aspect of the deck. He allows you to get back anything you use for Dragon's Mirror, or my favorite exploit, Abyss Dragon. Anytime you attack, add Abyss Dragon back into your graveyard, and then during the next turn, banish again, increase your attack strength, and then go through the recycling. It's a chain loop. Next we have our link for Boral Sword. Boral Sword is useful in this deck just because it can help beat through stuff. An alternative to Boral Sword would be something I have in the side deck, which is Blackluster Soldier's Link. So either one of these is useful in the deck. It doesn't matter which one you want to play, but I would side deck the other. Then we have Link to Lena the Light Charmer. I put her in because if I'm playing a deck that has light monsters, I can use her to steal it. So it's kind of nice, and this is a mostly pure light deck. And then you can also add a light monster from your deck with 1500 or less defense to your hand when this card is destroyed by battle or card effect. And finally, rounding out our extra deck is good old Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh is a generic Link, one that does not die. So that is it for this build, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like and subscribe, or comment down below on what I could change. And sorry about the camera. I am going through my equipment and trying to upgrade best I can, but I will see you guys in the next video.